Welcome everyone back to Top 10 Evolution, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at 10 new and upcoming PS5 games. And just to be noted, not all games on this list are exclusive to the PS5, but majority of them are. And I will also be making a upcoming PS5 exclusive games video sometime in the near future. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting off this is casually with a casual game. The game in question is Goodbye Volcano High. I remember covering this game like back either in 2022 or 2021, I can't remember, but I'm actually surprised that this game hasn't been released yet, seeing that it's an indie title, and indie titles, well, they be releasing quick and majority of times without delays. But let's talk about the game. The game will be featuring a group of high school seniors spending their last year in high school as their graduation is right around the corner. So you'll be able to play in a band and also have conversation with other students as well as the local around the town. Sounds sweet, right? But nah, that's not all. There's also an incoming asteroid that might end up bringing them to their extinction. Talk about a rough few years. Well, so far the gameplay I've seen, I gotta hand it to developers. For an indie game, I actually found the graphics to be quite fantastic. And so far the game seems like, well, it kind of has a great story. From just watching the trailers, I could like feel the emotion being emitted by these characters, whether they're being sad, happy, or disappointed. I'm actually like gonna be giving this game demo a try in a few days. I might even upload it to the channel if it's fun, of course. Goodbye Volcano High is a new adventure casual indie game being developed and published by KO_OP. That's the developer's name. I'm serious. KO_OP. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's what I'm gonna say it. Goodbye Volcano High will be releasing for the PS5, the PS4, and the PC, released on August 29th, 2023. Next up is a game that I haven't heard from in the longest while, which is low-key kinda sad because I was digging this game, but from the game was delayed, we haven't really heard much about this game. The game is Little Devil Inside. The game is still being developed though, so the release date is quite unsure, but it's still being developed. And honestly, I don't really know what happened to this game because it was like literally 2 weeks before the game was supposed to like drop, and then it just got delayed, and well, there was been nothing much heard from it since then. But I'm guessing this game will either be releasing later this year or early 2024. Little Devil Inside will follow the life of an explorer searching for monsters in basically any supernatural event they can find, which they do find a lot. And the game is, well, it kind of has like mainly a survival type feels to it, so there's a lot of survival elements to it, like you got to be cutting down trees to gather materials, to build shelter, and to also start a fire so you can make food. You can also go fishing and also go hunting for food, and there's a lot of weapons to use to fight monsters. There's weapons like sword, shields, grappling guns, there's bombs, and more. You'll also be able to travel various different biomes, from snowy biomes to forests to mountains to swamplands, desert, and even the deep sea. You'll also be able to interact with NPCs as well. Little Devil Inside is a new and upcoming role-playing survival co-op action-adventure game being developed and published by Neostream Interactive. Little Devil Inside will be releasing for the PS5, Nintendo Switch, the PS4, the PC, the Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X, with a release date to be announced. Next up is a game by the name of Fort Solis, a game that has pretty much built decent hype around it, and I can see why. I mean, just looking at this game blindly, I kind of get like a Callisto Protocol type vibes from this game, which I think that has to do with the game being a third-person thriller. Now, this gameplay is a bit different, with the game being told like a TV series would, or like the Telltale games. I'm saying this because the game still will be told in chapters instead of one straightforward gameplay where you just like play for 8 hours and that's it. The game will be taking a different approach, which doesn't really seem like a bad idea. Now the main character is named Jack. He's responding to an unusual alarm from a mining base by the name of, you guessed it, Fort Solis. Upon Jack's arrival, he slowly starts to discover what happens to the crew members, and there's also a storm approaching, so Jack has to hold out in Fort Solis until the morning. So the game definitely has a little story going on for it, and the graphics is actually quite good. It's not as good as a Callisto Protocol or like a few other games on this list, but the graphics isn't ugly, and so far, I like how interactive the environment and also the equipment and technology in this game are featured. Fort Solis is a new single-player adventure third-person game being developed by Fallen Leaf alongside with Black Darak Games, and it's to be published by Dear Villagers. Releasing for the PS5 and the PC, releasing on August 22nd, 2023. Next up is Helldivers 2. Now this game looks like total chaos and it's fun, like ton of fun. The combat already has me hooked. You'll be fighting across the galaxy with the Helldivers, and this game is a third-person shooter, so you'll be fighting in a third-person perspective. Now you're born on Super Earth, or a place called Super Earth, and their aliens are sneaking to destroy this Super Earth, and it's up to you and your elite group of soldiers to take down the threats. Now the thing is, this game has a lot of explosive. I mean, this game gives you the biggest and baddest explosive there is, and you can also call in airstrikes and other attack. I mean, this game features explosive that literally shakes the screen. That's what I mean by chaotic, which I'm all in for. You can literally drop a 1-ton bomb in this game. That's crazy. But the normal weapons also seem well designed. The weapons are definitely futuristic, and I have seen one that shoots some sort of energy pulse, and you're also equipped with grenades, so this game really wants you to blow stuff up. You can also make upgrades to your ship and even upgrade your arsenal, so that means even more firepower. You get it. A lot of firepower. And I also like the look of the environment and the effects, and the graphics actually looks great. And the terrain isn't overdone or over the top, it's just like moderately done, and it looks really good. I'd compare it to something like Death Stranding terrain, which was perfection. Helldivers 2 is a new upcoming third-person, squad-based shooter action-adventure game being developed by Arrowhead Game Studio and is published by PlayStation Studios alongside with Sony Interactive Entertainment. Helldivers 2 will be releasing for the PS5 and the PC, releasing sometime in October 2023. Next up is a game that's coming out in less than 2 weeks, and I'm actually excited to give it a try. Immortals of Aveum. I'm not gonna lie, it's the first time I'm hearing about this game, but hey, that's kind of fair seeing that I did take a 4-month break, so it's only fair that game's announcement will pass me by because time waits on no man. But saying this, however, I did do my research and watch a couple of gameplay footage, and it's actually not bad. The game is a first-person shooter, which is amazing since I'm a big fan of first-person games, but that's not all, since the game does feature mages, which means magic and spells are also involved, and a lot of skills and spells can be upgraded from offensive spells to defensive spells, which all have different colors variants. And the main campaign is said to be over 24 hours long, so at least 25 hours I've heard. So this game seems like it's gonna have a long campaign, which can be a good or a bad thing, because if the missions in combat are repetitive, playing and doing the same thing for over 25 hours is not really something that's gonna be fun to do. But hopefully that's not the case, and it's not like developers are expecting anyone to play this game for over 25 hours straight. I'd hope no one actually does that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes out for this one. Immortals of Aveum is a new and upcoming first-person shooter role-playing action-adventure game being developed by Ascendant Studio and is to be published by Electronic Arts. Immortals of Aveum will be releasing for the PS5, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S, and the PC, released on August 22nd, 2023. Next up is a franchise favorite of mine. Actually, the Alan Wake game was actually the first game I have ever played on PC when I just got into PC gaming, and it was super amazing back then. And to me, the graphics was something amazing. The game was actually still very new back then, so the graphics was pretty much up to par. But looking at Alan Wake 2 now, I can see the graphical difference is like easily a day and night situation. But I mean, that was expected, and the predecessor did have a pretty amazing story, so if Alan Wake 2 can deliver on that, then I guess they did a really good job. And I'm especially keeping my eyes on this game, seeing that this game holds a special place in my heart, or well, this predecessor did. And well, so far, I haven't really seen anything to say that this game is gonna be bad. If anything, it's a quite opposite. The game is already showing promise. The gameplay so far looks like a bit like, it's Alan Wake, so it does have a bit of gameplay from its predecessor, but of course, ain't nothing wrong with making a few changes. So there's definitely a few improvements to the game, and that's amazing. The game still utilizes like the same mechanics where you're able to fight using your flashlight and a gun, and that will sure bring back some old memories. You'll also be able to use not one but two characters, of course. The first being Alan Wake, who we all love, and Saga, and well, a female character, which is pretty good. She looks pretty badass. She works like for the FBI, and well, you're seeing her on your screen and she looks tough. Alan Wake 2 is a upcoming new survival horror third-person shooter adventure game being developed by Rhythm Entertainment and is published by Epic Games. Alan Wake 2 will be releasing for the PS5, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S, and the PC, released on October 17, 2023. Next game on this list is Marvel's Spider-Man 2, a game that was revealed back in 2021, and so far the gameplay that we've seen shows that this game has a lot to expect and it's bringing a lot. The game looks amazing. Now, the Spider-Man games are amazing in general, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2 seems to be no exception. Now, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will be coming in as a third entry in the Marvel Spider-Man game series, and just like its 2020 predecessor, we'll have both Spider-Man in this game, being both Peter Parker Spider-Man and also Miles Morales Spider-Man. But this game seems to be leaning into having both Spider-Man equally as active in the game. And like in 2018 Spider-Man, where it was just Peter Parker, and 2020 Spider-Man, where well, for the most part it was Miles Morales. This game might be leveling the playing field, giving each Spider-Man enough screen time, which seems like a good thing, seeing that there's some new villains that are super tough and will be really hard for just one Spider-Man to handle. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is an upcoming open world action adventure fighting platform game being developed by Insomniac Games and is published by the Sony Interactive Entertainment. Marvel Spider-Man 2 will be releasing exclusively for the PS5, released on October 20, 2023. Next up is a game that was actually announced, well, a few months ago. I think it's not even been a year yet, so the game is pretty much, well, relatively new. The game I'm speaking of is Rise of Ronin. The game is a samurai game. It actually looks like if Ghost of Tsushima somehow got pregnant and had a baby. The game will be taking place in the 19th century. Well, that's pretty much infested with wars, and the game will also be open world, based in Japan in 1863. And boy, does the world environment looks good, especially the game terrain. I am definitely loving the game design of the environment, from the terrain and the building design, and also the weather effects. I'm speaking about the wind blowing. It also seems to be like super amazing. Like, remind me a lot of Ghost of Tsushima, you know, when like the wind like blows in the field and you can see like the green grass is just being blown. Yeah, that's exactly what this game looks like. There's not much really known about this game's story, but from what I can understand, this game is based on different factions having different views about the Western world influence on Japan, which leads to an outright war. You'll also be able to create your own custom character in this game. You can also use different weapons ranging from like swords and katana, as they're called, and I also believe I saw a gun, so there's also firearms. Rise of Ronin is a new and upcoming role-playing fighting shooter game being developed by Team Ninja and is published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Rise of Ronin will be releasing exclusively for the PS5 sometime in 2024. Next up is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I know what many of you guys are thinking. Haven't Final Fantasy VII already had a remake? You're not wrong, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be a second part of the 3-part of the Final Fantasy VII remake. So more than likely, we might be getting another Final Fantasy VII remake after this. So basically, a trilogy. But that's okay, because I really did enjoy the last remake. My problem is, where the hell is Final Fantasy 16? It seems like I've been waiting for the longest. And I think Final Fantasy 16 should be coming out before this game. I think it's in 2023. Hopefully that's the case, because if not, I'ma just have to go and make the goddamn game for myself. Like, seriously, don't let me do that. I don't think Square Enix wants me to put them out of business, so they should not do that. So y'all better chop, because I've been waiting. Anyway, I'm gonna stop goofing around and I'm gonna be talking about this game. So let's see what this game has going on for it. The game seems to be having the same characters from the previous games. Well, so far, so thumbs up. That's a W. The game graphics also seems a lot better than its predecessor, and I think that has to do with the more grassy terrains. I'm a big sucker for nature. I'm sorry. There's not much known about this game as yet, but I'm pretty sure that will change in the future. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a new and upcoming action-adventure fighting role-playing game being developed and published by Square Enix. The game will be releasing exclusively to the PS5, releasing in early 2024. Next up is a game that pretty much been silent from its announcement, but that's actually normal with these new games nowadays. They just come up, get attention, and then just pop up like 2 years after, and suddenly there's a release date. So yeah, the game is still in development, so that's good. And back when I first saw this game, I had a really hard time believing this game was even real. The graphics in this game was just like one of the best graphics we have seen, well, back then, and that was cause the game was utilizing the Unreal Engine 5, which looks amazing. They're a bit demanding. Well, the Unreal Engine 5 games are like a bit demanding, but they do look good, and this game is no exception. Especially with its futuristic dystopian world, well, it really shines being on the Unreal Engine 5. The game will both be playable in first person and third person, but from what I have seen, I am definitely playing this game in first person because, well, that's how I like to play majority of games, unless they're like made to be only played in third person. So the game will also have a mix of shooting and stealth built into it, and the game will be taking place in a dystopian of Berlin in the year 2087. We'll all be old by then, old as hell, but you'll be playing this game as a cop, uncovering secrets and solving the big case that he's tasked with. Shadows of Conspiracy Section 2 is a new shooter action adventure fighting game being developed and published by Elysium Games, UG. I don't know what the UG is for, but it's there. Shadow of Conspiracy Section 2 releasing for the PS5, the PC, the Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S, with a release date to be announced. Well, that's it for the video. Definitely go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, peace out and stay safe.